In 2016, a Swedish group named Ocean X, dedicated to exploring sunken ships and valuable treasures in the Baltic Sea, made an extraordinary discovery while returning home after a 9-day research expedition. Their sonar equipment, scanning the ocean floor, stumbled upon an unusual find: a massive circular structure in the midst of the otherwise flat seabed. Initially perplexed by this sight, the sailors quickly assembled a team of 3 to dive into the depths and investigate the anomaly. However, what began as a dive in search of treasure would unveil something seemingly not of this world, a mystery that remains unsolved to this day. The Baltic Sea, situated amidst northern European countries like Sweden, Finland, Estonia and Denmark, has long served as a vital trade route, hosting countless shipwrecks over the years. Current estimates suggest that the seabed is home to the remains of approximately 100,000 vessels of various sizes spanning across the ages. Founded by Swedes, Ocean X was a company set on claiming its share of the immense treasure trove that lay beneath the waves, a combination of historical relics and lucrative spoils. Led by Peter Lindberg, a team returned from a 9-day expedition, continuing to scan the ocean floor with sonar equipment. Off the coast of the Gulf of Bothnia, they stumbled upon an extraordinary sight: a sunken structure nestled into the seabed, boasting near-perfect circular lines, 64 meters in diameter and 8 meters in height. Captain Peter Lindberg, who had dedicated his life to researching sunken vessels and making discoveries beneath the sea's surface, urged his team to quickly dive before an approaching storm, preparing a robot to capture high-resolution images. As the sonar descended into the depths, the team eagerly awaited the images in the technical room. At a depth of 70 meters, the contours of an object not native to the area began to slowly emerge on the screen. The team, captivated, initially believed they had stumbled upon a colossal sunken ship. However, at 80 meters, everything changed abruptly. The robot's compass began to malfunction erratically, providing erratic readings. The camera feed flickered before completely cutting out, leaving the team in darkness. The signals from the ship's machinery ceased to reach them. Captain Lindberg, seeking answers, questioned whether the cable had become tangled, but there seemed to be no visible issue. Suddenly, fluctuations and disruptions in the ship's electrical systems further added to the chaos, with circuits flickering on and off unpredictably. As nobody could make sense of what had happened, a sharp image suddenly appeared on the darkened screen, a distinct, straight edge resembling steps. Then, the signal cut off again, and the team reeled the robot back onto the ship. Working tirelessly for months with the limited sonar images they had, Ocean X founders Peter and Dennis Asberg found themselves unable to decipher the mystery. They turned to the internet, posting the footage on their website and sending it to several news channels. The response was immediate and overwhelming, with Ocean X's website receiving 300,000 daily visits and thousands of emails pouring in. However, most of the suggestions and comments speculated wildly without any evidence, ranging from the structure being a UFO to the work of the devil. Nevertheless, the surge of interest attracted some useful sponsors. Eventually securing a year $150,000 fund, the team returned to the site with much more advanced equipment. However, instead of answers, this extensive research would only yield more questions, ultimately leading to dark days for the team. With a team of expert deep-sea divers armed with highly sophisticated underwater cameras and electronic devices, Ocean X embarked on their second journey to the mysterious Baltic anomaly, fully equipped to face any conditions. After 2 days of searching for the wreckage, they finally located it. As the advanced robot probe descended towards the coordinates, anticipation filled the air. Unlike the previous malfunctioning probe, this one seemed to approach the wreckage successfully, but technical issues reared their head once more. Cameras failed to produce clear images as electromagnetic interference hindered the equipment's proper functioning. Despite these challenges, the team managed to bring the robot within close proximity to at least one sharp edge of the structure, capturing the image you see here, a formation resembling a flat wall made of concrete. With this revelation, the team began preparations for a deep sea dive. A 3-person diving team geared up for the perilous 80-meter descent, embarking on their mysterious journey into the depths. However, the problems persisted for the diving team. As they approached the structure, intense interference and communication disruptions plagued their radios, making it challenging to stay in contact with the ship. Fortunately, the team was experienced, and despite technical difficulties, they pressed on with their research. Dive leader Stephen described the structure firsthand. At first glance, it looked like a concrete bunker. However, upon closer inspection, I realized that what appeared to be concrete was actually a muddy layer that had covered the structure for a long time. What made things even more intriguing was when the divers cleared the layer with their hands, revealing a jet black layer of molten rock underneath. Of course, enduring long periods at 80 meters in the cold waters of the Baltic Sea was impossible, so the team quickly began taking photographs and collecting samples from the structure using the tools they had at hand. Due to the inefficient functioning of technical equipment and the onset of intense migraines among the diving team, the research was concluded prematurely for analysis of the data collected, and the team returned to shore. Their first stop upon returning was Andreas Olsson, an expert in underwater archeology. Andreas noted that while the material of the structure resembled natural materials, its shape and details indicated artificial origins. So, it's a man-made structure, but how could something constructed by humans end up sunken in the middle of the sea? Hold on to that question, we'll get to the answer shortly. Samples taken from the structure were sent to Stockholm University for analysis, and the team was once again shocked by the results. Beneath the muddy layer, the black substance resembling molten wax turned out to be genuine melted basalt. Now, here's the conundrum: there hasn't been any volcanic activity in the region surrounding the Baltic Sea for thousands of years, at least not in the conventional sense, let alone in the last 10,000 years as far as we know. So where did this melted basalt come from? What's even more intriguing is, let's say this structure somehow became a heap of melted basalt. Then what was the meaning behind all those sharp edges, circular indentations carved into certain places, and even the circular cavities carved into the regular frames and triangles? These are things that are impossible to occur naturally. This is where we need to analyze the data at hand and come up with some theories. However logical an explanation we attempt to provide, we are faced with truly extraordinary possibilities. When considering the sonar research, 3D modeling photographs taken, and the small stone samples obtained, 3 theories regarding the Baltic Sea anomaly come to light. The first theory suggests that the structure is a spaceship, spearheaded by none other than the team leaders, Peter Lindbergh and Dennis Asberg, who are avid Star Wars fans. Why, you ask? Well, regardless of its scientific credibility, the shape of the anomaly closely resembles the Millennium Falcon spaceship from Star Wars. Though a claim lacking any scientific basis, it's an amusing coincidence. However, the perfectly circular shape of the anomaly and its protrusions and recesses lend some support to this possibility. Moreover, the 3D modeling of the seabed overwhelmingly supports this theory. Take a look for yourself. Did you notice anything about the 1,500-meter section between the anomaly and the nearest peak? Some of you might be thinking, could this have been a meteor? It's actually a logical consideration, given the presence of minerals on the anomaly that aren't native to the region. This suggests that these minerals could have arrived with an asteroid. However, there are 2 factors that discredit this theory. Firstly, the impact of a 60-meter asteroid wouldn't leave such a mark at a depth of 80 meters in the seabed. Secondly, there's no nuclear signature of an impact in the area. Now, some might argue that perhaps the area wasn't submerged in water at the time of impact and was later flooded. This is a reasonable assumption, but it doesn't explain the sharp edges. When meteorites hit the Earth, frictional melting typically rounds off their sharp edges, and they often fragment due to the impact energy, leaving behind a crater. However, as I mentioned earlier, this isn't just a fanciful possibility. It's worth considering. The second theory is that the anomaly is a man-made structure. Now, remember when I mentioned the possibility that the area wasn't underwater previously? Well, that scenario resurfaces here. It's believed that before the early Dryas period, around 13,500 years ago, before the major glacial melting, the Baltic Sea didn't exist in that location. The theory that the formation of the sea occurred due to the melting of nearby Scottish glaciers and the rising sea levels filling the region is highly plausible. Even today, the sea's water is a mixture of saltwater water and fresh water. This is an important detail because according to legends, the area was once believed to be the location of a civilization mentioned in myths called Hyperborea. Hyperborea, much like Atlantis, is a mysterious ancient civilization that appears in fringe history. Now, of course, this is a far-fetched claim, but that doesn't mean it's baseless. In excavation works on the island of Gotland in the middle of the Baltic Sea, archeological remains dating back to around 4000 BCE and undetermined stone carvings have been found. Based on this, it's conceivable that a community once inhabited the area and constructed this anomaly before it became submerged. However, to make this theory more fantastical, we link it to a pre-deluge legendary civilization like Hyperborea. The reason for this connection is the volcanic basalt that covers the structure, as I mentioned earlier. There hasn't been any volcanic activity of this kind in the region for thousands of years. Therefore, we can deduce that the volcanic basalt covering the structure is even older than 10,000 years. When we fill in the gaps with myths, we end up with classic deluge period catastrophes. This refers to a time when the world was ravaged by serious natural disasters, including volcanoes and solar flares. Every culture has serious claims regarding this period, believing that ancient civilizations were wiped from history due to these cataclysms. So, when considering all the evidence, it's not an entirely implausible explanation. In fact, we have a structure with sharp edges and distinctive features carrying electromagnetic properties, covered thousands of years ago with molten basalt and later submerged beneath the sea. So we're talking about something truly ancient here. The final theory comes from the scientific community, suggesting explanations involving icebergs. According to this approach, volcanic activity tens of thousands of years ago coated the region with basalt, and subsequent millennia of glacier formations, movements, and ultimately melting caused erosion, leading to the formation of this intriguing rock. Yes, it may not be as glamorous as the others, but scientific approaches deserve respect nonetheless. However, there's a problem here too. How could this anomaly have remained alone when there are no other similar formations in thousands of square meters around? As I said, none of these theories have been proven or disproven. This is one of the main reasons why it's called an anomaly, because it holds within it all sorts of intriguing possibilities. So, why not undertake a third expedition, drill down, and thoroughly investigate the layers to unravel this mystery? Yes, it's possible, and the Ocean X team considered it. However, it's an endeavour that requires serious funding. But Peter and Dennis were undeterred. They utilised all their connections to find new sponsors, sold off unnecessary equipment to raise funds, and almost succeeded in balancing the budget. Unfortunately, I said almost, because right before this project was about to commence, everything fell apart, and it spelled the end for Ocean X. That morning, Dennis Asberg recalls, as he was getting ready for breakfast, I was browsing the news online, and suddenly I saw our company's name everywhere. The American media company Fox, without any clear evidence, had made a statement about the Baltic Sea anomaly, claiming it was just an ordinary rock formation formed by glacial movements. Now, some of you might be thinking, so what? Why would that end them? But as you may know, things usually don't unfold so innocently in my line of work. Following Fox's report within just a few days, numerous media outlets worldwide and social media groups began spreading this baseless story. Not only did they spread it, but they also accused Ocean X of fabricating all their sonar images and photographs, alleging that they had deceived people. All the companies that were supposed to sponsor Ocean X's third expedition terminated their contracts, and Decoding couldn't find another sponsor. Not only that, but they had tarnished his and the company's reputation as well. On the internet, social media platforms became inundated with constant lynching and mocking videos, relentlessly targeting and ridiculing Ocean X. Ironically, Ocean X had never staunchly advocated any of the three theories I mentioned earlier. They had always approached the topic with an open mind and respected all possibilities. Yet, within just a few weeks, the company's entire reputation was destroyed, and they were driven to bankruptcy. Following this relentless smear campaign, Peter Lindenberg completely withdrew from the affair. In fact, I couldn't even find information on whether he continued his diving career. As for Decoding Asberg, despite months of effort to clear his company's name, he too withdrew after receiving dozens of threats to harm him, his children, and his family. He simply retreated to his corner, closing the chapter on the matter. All he had wanted was to explore an underwater anomaly. How things escalated to this point, he would never understand. Ocean X Company, on the other hand, later changed hands and is currently engaged in ocean mapping projects in collaboration with the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. This is another example of how mainstream power can consume people. Now, while it may indeed be a completely natural formation, witnessing these events might make one believe that there is something intriguing going on. And what further fuels suspicions is the timing of these events, just as the team was about to conduct drilling. Could it be the remnants of a spacecraft that crashed on the planet thousands of years ago, or perhaps a mysterious source of electromagnetic energy belonging to a pre-flood civilization, waiting to be discovered? I guess we won't find out anytime soon because no further research has been conducted in the area since that day. As far as we know, the mystery of the anomaly still remains unsolved to this day, prompting the question, what other secrets lie waiting to be discovered beneath the seas, of which we've only explored 5% of the seabed? Thank you all for watching the video. Please share your thoughts on what the structure could be in the comments section. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and share it with your friends. Until the next video, take care of yourselves.